Well, that race was intense, wasn't it, guys? We got two rivals colliding again. We got trouble at the top with team orders and McLaren. I'll give you my 3 good and the 3 bad of the weekend. And we got a new race winner. Let's take a look. The start of the race in Hungary is always crucial, isn't it, guys? And, well, it proved more so this time out in the end, wasn't it? Crucially, Lando Norris went on pole, got a poor getaway, didn't he, actually? And Oscar Piastri was right up on the inside, made the move down into turn 1. Max Verstappen on the outside got ran out wide. He was ahead of Lando Norris. He dropped 2 places Norris at turn 1. Verstappen had to eventually give that one back. But we had a mixture of mixed starters all the way through that field, didn't we? It was Logan Sargent, a poor start, dropped 5 places early on. Carlos Sainz was down 3 places, and that was, you know, the story of his race as well from there. Nico Hülkenberg 3 places, Daniel Ricciardo 2 places, Yuki Tsunoda dropped 2 places as well, and Sergio Perez was down 2. It was a brilliant start for Alex Albon up into P9, and that was the highlight of his race really from there. And Kevin Magnussen up 5 places to P10, Ocon up 5 places as well. And yeah, as I say, it was probably the 3 that made the good start was probably the highlight of the races. And it was a horrible afternoon for all 3 of the good starters from there on, wasn't it? The start, really, I think it was the start of Max Verstappen's angry man moment, wasn't it, really? That penalty or the order to let Norris past just resulted in him just consistently carrying that anger all the way through the race. It's not something that we've seen from him before, but Oscar out front controlled the race fantastically well, didn't he? Comfortably held off Lando Norris, and it looked like a simple 1-2 for McLaren. Third in behind, Max Verstappen looked set for that position, and actually it was strange towards the end of that stint actually where he started to drop off. Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes were quick, actually very good strategy calls from them, both undercuts, and that got him past Max Verstappen in the first stop, and that irked Max Verstappen even more. And then we've seen a great battle with the 2 rivals. Lap 35, Hamilton locked up, Max Verstappen made the pass and strangely ran wide at turn 2. That's something that we've not seen from him before. Let Hamilton repass, and that was probably the key moment for Max Verstappen. Had he got past him, I think he would have been right in the hunt, hunting down Lando Norris at one point. He looked really fast on the hard tyres after that first stint, and the second stint just got worse, didn't he? He was in the battle in a bit of a no man's land, trying to close down Lando Norris. He was fast. He went long on that first stint to try and, you know, do something different. And in that, Ferrari also got the jump on Max Verstappen, and that was 2 places lost due to undercut, and that further added to his frustration. Max Verstappen made easy work of Charles Leclerc, got past him, and then it was another brilliant battle with Lewis Hamilton. 9 laps, fresher tyres. Within that, we also seen the slow lap from Oscar Piastri, lap 32. Hamilton was on a charge at that point on the second stint. Whenever he put the hard tyres on, he was absolutely flying, wasn't he? It was great to see, and that really put the pressure on McLaren a little bit, didn't they? They had to cover off Hamilton on the undercut, pit Norris first. Like I said, the slow lap from Oscar Piastri didn't help because he had a good buffer to Lando Norris, but on that second stop, Norris came out ahead. He did get the undercut to help him with that though, but without the undercut, I think had Piastri not made that stop, he would have had that one lap. You know, the undercut wasn't strong enough to make a 4-second gap. And he would have got out ahead of Norris, and I then think them two would have battled it out in front, and we don't have the issues with the team orders that we've seen in the end. Max Verstappen went for a uncharacteristic lunge, didn't he, on Lewis Hamilton, lap 63. It just felt a little bit daft and a bit rash. It's not something that we've seen before. He's so good on the brakes, making them late moves. He had 9 laps fresher tyres than Lewis on the mediums, Lewis on the hards, and I thought he would have made that stick, locked up, knocked Lewis Hamilton. Lucky Lewis didn't get any damage from that, and I'm surprised Max carried on with the big launch in the air that we've seen. It was really dramatic, that, wasn't it? And that cost him a place to Charles Leclerc. He almost lost out to Carlos Sainz, isn't it? Sainz was in a second of him, but he managed to hold that back with a damaged car. And then we just saw McLaren begging Lando Norris effectively all the way through for the last 10 laps to say, come on Norris, give Piastri back that place. Norris, quite rightly to an extent, said, look, he was so much faster than Piastri in that second stint. He made a gap of 6 seconds, and he was trying to prove the point effectively that he would have won that race, but even if there was the undercut, he was that much faster. He would have closed up on Piastri, made the move, and got the win. McLaren saying that, no, actually we gave you that undercut, that gave you the benefit of track position on Piastri, and you've got to return the favour. We helped you to defend from Lewis, and Piastri played the team game, he let you go first, and you've got to return that. And I can understand why Norris left it and proved a point as much as he did. I'm a bit surprised with McLaren also, because there still is potentially a championship fight on here. Red Bull bought big upgrades and they weren't the fastest car on the field, were they? I think they were faster than Mercedes on raw pace, but got outdone by strategy. And that can happen when they're focusing on the guys ahead of them. They can let slip of the whole race view. And that's kind of what happened to Red Bull. And McLaren absolutely maximised. And they could have brought the points down in the Drivers' Championship to within 60 odd points. I know that's still massive for the drivers. I don't think Max will have as many bad races like this going forward, but it shows that they are actually fast. They are much faster than the Red Bulls, and they can collectively, if they can work together like they did today, 1-2, make a real battle of it. And I was a bit surprised that they made that call to let Oscar Piastri through. I think it was the right one for the team. Piastri was comfortably holding that first place. I think he had everything under control. He was gapping Lando Norris in that first stint. He had about 3-4 second gap, but for the mistake in turn 11 which allowed Norris to close up, I think he would have controlled it from there. But it would have been interesting in that second stint, because Norris was megally fast, and it proved to be 10th in the end, wasn't it? And let's get to the 3 good and the 3 bad of the weekend. And I'm starting with Oscar Piastri. His first win for McLaren, first win in Formula 1. A massive achievement. It was a bit disappointing in the way he was so calm about it. I don't know if it was just a bit disappointing with the whole Norris letting him pass scenario, and it's a bit disappointing to have your first win and it being marred by the team orders games, wasn't it? It should be a massive celebration, and he kind of got robbed a little bit of that, and you only get one first win, so I was a bit disappointed at how that was managed. But he clearly deserved it. He was so calm, he got to the front, he managed it so fantastically well. He was on it this weekend, didn't he? And he was brilliant, I think, for the first 2/3 of that race. The last third, I think he was good enough, but he should have done more to just keep closer to Lando Norris. Norris had the edge on him at the end, and I guess that's where it counts. That's where the wins happen, don't they? But overall, I think it was a really good win from Oscar Piastri. Really controlled, crucial start, made the pass, and then went on to manage the race fantastically well from there. The second of the 3 good, I'm going for Lewis Hamilton. A P3, a podium from P5. I don't think he thought that would have been on, and I think it was a really good race, really good strategy calls. The 2 undercuts worked fantastically well, especially early on, got the pass on Max Verstappen, and then just kept that pressure on, didn't they? Max went long, and then kind of the strategy meant that he would always have to pass Lewis even on the second time round. Probably should have got it done. He should have got it done at the end of the first stint, didn't make that stick, and then went for that bit crazy late lunge. I think if he just held off, he would have always passed Lewis Hamilton. He was much faster than him, but it was Max Verstappen lost his head a little bit here this weekend, but really good racing. Lucky Lewis didn't get any damage, managed to complete the race. A fantastic podium from him, from P5. Another podium, that's 200 podiums for Lewis Hamilton in his career. It's an absolutely mesmerising achievement. And the third of the 3 good, I'm going for Ferrari and Charles Leclerc, a P4. I predicted a bad weekend for him this weekend. I think they can be happy with that, actually. They've beaten a Red Bull and a Mercedes. That's probably better than what they'd hoped for, and they were actually really good in race pace. Strategy was strong. They both went long, both Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, and I think that worked to their favour. it meant that Charles Leclerc could close up on Max Verstappen when he was battling with Lewis Hamilton. And I was surprised actually when they pitted Charles Leclerc with Lewis Hamilton, because Charles Leclerc went long in the first stint, and so he probably could have done 3 or 4 more laps and then pitted, but they were, I think, eager just to make sure that Max didn't get the undercut, and as soon as they see Mercedes go in, they went in as well. It was probably a bit too long to go 30 laps on the mediums, and I think that's why Max passed him in the end. A little bit lucky to get past Max Verstappen. I think that only happened because of the collision, but you take it, he put himself in the position to do that, and he was actually really good. Charles Leclerc, P4 from P6, and I've got to say a very, very good race from him. Double points, 4th and 6th for Ferrari. Much better than they probably hoped for. And I'm going to give a shout out to Sergio Perez, P16 to P7. It was the performance that he kind of needed. Only finished 2 places behind Max Verstappen in the end. So when you put it that way, he was blisteringly fast on the after the pits on the hards, wasn't he? He did a really good job. Some crucial passes to make his way up. He beat George Russell, who started ahead of him in the end, and so a really good race from him. The 3 bad, and starting with Alpine, who I thought would have a good weekend. It was disastrous. Another DNF for Gasly, 2 in 2 races, and Ocon, who got a really good start, up 5 places, and that was a highlight. Like I said, was poor in the end, way down, finished in 18th. A horrible weekend, poor quality strategy, and that really cost them for the race, and the race just didn't get any better from there for them, did it? Really want to forget. And a surprise second of the 2 bad, Max Verstappen. It was uncharacteristic. He lost his head today, and that's something that we've not seen for absolutely ages. He's always so good at these last ditch braking moves. To make the mistake first time round on Lewis and run wide in turn 2, and to see it again with the collision, he locked up, and he was never going to make that corner from there, and to lose another place to Charles Leclerc. And I think he was really hard done by actually from that first corner, and I think that really affected him more though than we've seen before. We know we've been angry over the radio, but it's not really seemed to have affected his racing. But this time it was all these sort of calls, the car not being great, and it really wore out on him, and he kind of exploded a little bit on the end when we seen that incident lap 63 with Lewis Hamilton. It's not kind of what we've seen. Yeah, straight off. It was back and forth with Gianpiero Lambiase, the team race engineer for him, and it was, I kind of like that, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, I do like them going back and forth. It's great to see. It's intense, it's motorsport, it's what we live to watch F1 for. So personally, I love that. I'm not going to criticise him for that. But yeah, to see the moves that would normally stick for Max Verstappen not stick, I think that was the most disappointing part of his race. He looked like he was in a fight for second. He should definitely have been on the podium in the end, and to miss out and drop to 5th is he's going to have one bad race. He's had his bad race. He's not won for quite a few races now, isn't it? That's 7 different winners this season. He's not been pole position for the 1 in 6 now. So big upgrades on his car, and they didn't really work at all, did they? They didn't really bridge the gap to McLaren. They weren't fast in the race. So he's always the one. Even when they were winning, he was critical when they weren't good, and he's going to be even more critical when they're not good. There's only one Max Verstappen, and that's the way he runs. He pushes to the absolute limit, and that's why we love him, or I do anyway. I think he's a fantastic racer, but I think he just went over the edge today, and that's not something we've seen for absolutely ages. And the third of the 3 bad, I'm going for Fernando Alonso. Yes, started in P7, finished in P11. I was so disappointed for him. He started so well. He got past Carlos Sainz, didn't keep that position for very long, did he, in the end? Turn 1, lap 1 was probably the best part of his race, and then from there onwards he was way down. He was P10. I think he let Stroll past. I'm not sure on that one, because Stroll had 8 laps fresher tyres, and I don't think that was a chance to try and for Stroll to attack Yuki Tsunoda for P8 or P9, but that didn't happen. So overall, he was just so disappointed over the radio as well, wasn't he? It's not the Fernando Alonso we've seen, and he'll be disappointed to be out of the points, which for a weekend which promised so much after a really good qualifying session, but disappointing from him. But he's only got a week to dwell on it. It's off to Spa next. A fantastic venue, an absolutely classic race this one of my absolute favourites. Can't wait for the action to get going. But thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment, and always. And check out this sauce, guys. Check the link in the description. You get 10% off Raju sauces. F1 guy is the code for that. Check them out. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always. See you next time.